Ivy Valentine subscribes to Mark Yoon, so should you. Enjoy your treat!
So Bleach ReBirth of Souls was just announced. Awesome. It's been so long since we've had an actual Western Bleach game, or a Bleach game that came to the West outside of like the PS2 series. We've had like what? Shattered Blade, a couple of Game Boy games, and we've had Soul Resurrection on PS3. That's pretty much it. Luckily, with a recent trailer, Tamsoft is here to save the day. I was like, who is this? They sound kind of familiar, but it's kind of hard. But this might actually link into like what kind of game Bleach ReBirth of Souls is actually going to turn out to be. So Tamsoft's most notable games are actually the Senran Kagura series and the Onechanbara series. So both of those played pretty similarly. It's also the same developer of Melty Blood, which is I think their most prominent fighting game that you can actually appropriate this to. And this game is a fighting game. It said action fighting in the actual trailer for the teaser, but I looked into it further and it is just a 1 to 2 player fighting game with a 1 to 2 player offline. Now, I don't know how many characters are going to be in this game. I am still excited because it's Bleach, but there are little concerns that I have. And these days I try not to be just like emptily hyped about things without like having a good healthy skepticism towards it, because like I do want to spend my money properly because games come out all the time. So I do love Bleach and I probably will get it regardless because it's Bleach, but will I like it and will I play it? That's a different thing. I'm a little bit skeptical about the developer, I really am, because even though I'm a slight fan of the Senran Kagura series, it leans nothing into fighting. Really, it's like a hack 'em slash or beat 'em up kind of thing, and that's usually what they do. They lean heavily into the waifu or like ecchi kind of like systems where you're basically just like girls in bikinis most of the time and stuff. And that's the same thing with Onechanbara, which is like girls in bikinis but with cowboy hats and zombies. So they're both pretty similar titles, and beyond that, the only other fighting game experience that the company really has is Battle Arena Toshinden back on the PlayStation 1. But out of the 90 members of that team, I'm not sure how many of those people are actually still on board. I know that one of them is still on board, that's from the original team, but outside of that, I don't know who else on the development staff is actually there. So I am still excited for this game, but it's going to take a lot to convince me that it's going to be good. So I see people on Twitter all the time say, hey, we're eating good, anime fans out here, like, we get Sparking Zero, blah, blah, blah. And then I see the other side of where people are upset that, like, it's yet another arena fighter. Yeah, I can kind of see where they're going with that. Arena fighters, I might make an entire video on them, but not only is it easy to develop for in engine with most of the stuff they already have, but I'm not even going to consider DLC. It's more that there's usually a side tournament fan base for those things. Like think of like Naruto Storm and even Tenkaichi and stuff like that. They're really easy to kind of put into esports to get people to actually play them, and that's like free marketing for them. So if they made a Bleach RPG, I guarantee you like 1/4 of the amount of people would be buying that, because that'd be just basically based on the IP and not the gameplay itself. So I can see why they make arena fighters. They're easy for them and it's a good ROI. Would I like to see a different scenario? Sure. I think Arxis made the best arena fighter we've ever had to date with Kill la Kill. As lacking in content as that game was, it was really good. Even though I'm not really a big fan of the IP, but that game is amazing. So I am also a little concerned that this is only going up to the Aizen arc, the Arrancar arc, and while there's a lot of cool stuff in that, we get like Grimmjow, we get Ulquiorra, we get Aizen obviously, even like Neliel and other cool stuff like that, we don't really have a lot of the up-to-date stuff. And the reason why I was expecting or wanting that we were going to get 1000 Year Blood War is because it's not been represented in a game form yet. I don't want to hear Bleach Brave Souls because that's just a mobile game. Even though I have 2 accounts and I played on PS4 and mobile, I don't really consider that like a full-fledged game. So this is definitely like giving me a little bit of pause, I want to say. I'm not like pessimistic about it. Like, it's just like A, the developer doesn't have much experience, B, Bandai Namco tends to rush their game developers and most of the time put out subpar products. Like look at like the recent iterations of Jujutsu Kaisen, even Demon Slayer, as good as that game is, like it launched with like no demons and had to like beat a launch date and didn't come out with much content after that. There's a lot of Bandai Namco games that they just kind of rush out there, and I think that like them forcing a schedule on the developers to like put it out by certain dates to meet certain brackets is kind of concerning. Again, I don't know how long this game has been in development for. We do know that I made a video, I think about 6 to 8 months ago, where they actually pulled out the trademark for Rebirth of Souls, and I made a whole video on how it's going to be a console game and not a mobile game based on like the actual lettering when they're talking about it. But it doesn't give me ultimate confidence, if that makes sense. Like, I definitely want to see actual more gameplay, and I want to see the quantity of what's going to be in the game. Are we getting a decent amount of characters, or is it going to be like a smaller roster? Are we going to be able to play as the villains, or are the villains just playable in story mode, and in the fighting mode you're only playing as like the heroes? You know, the characters they showed, like your Chad, and your Orihime, and Uryu, and Ichigo, and Rukia, and Renji, and so on and so forth. I would have liked to seen a little bit more. I know it's a teaser, and we will be getting more, so I'm looking forward to that. But gameplay-wise, it looked like they tend to have like a hack and slash beat 'em up style for the story and then going into boss battles. But that was just like speculation on my part because they said action and fighting, and the stages looked like they were big enough to have like that kind of interaction between characters similar to what you would see in like Senran Kagura, for example, which I was like lending my brain to say I think that that might be the case, but I'm not actually sure. Obviously, it's all speculation. I know nothing about this game outside of like the research I've done and what we've seen. It is yet another arena fighter, which it's Bleach, so I'm kind of excited about that. Like I said, we haven't had Bleach in a long time, so it's kind of cool to come back to, and as a Bleach fan myself, I would love to get my hands on this. This game is so like such a gap that I had to record Soul Resurrection gameplay for this, and I had to record it on my phone on a tripod because like my Elgato HD 60S and OBS won't actually capture footage from PS3, which I learned the hard way before when I was trying to film Soul Calibur 5 video content. So it works fine on every other system that I own, just the PS3. So besides the fighting, besides the characters and content, are we going to get DLC? Like, is this game going to sell well? That's another big issue, because like just because it's an anime IP doesn't guarantee a lot of sales, as we've seen with Naruto Storm Connections and other IP that have been in similar aspects like Jujutsu Kaisen. So just because like it's hiding behind an IP doesn't mean or guarantee the sales, which doesn't guarantee DLC, because that's further budget. So I don't know like if we're actually going to get like the Fullbring arc, or like even the 1000-Year Blood War, or if they're gonna like support this game that long after it releases and are waiting, like Rich and I said on the podcast yesterday on the live stream, how long it actually is going to go for or release, and will the 1000-Year Blood War arc part 2 or the final part be finished by then so they can actually add that stuff in as DLC? I have no idea, but like I don't even know if I'm gonna like the game yet because we haven't seen enough, so I'm not gonna go off half-cocked and be like, yeah, we're eating good, and this game looks great. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen any gameplay. We saw a limited trailer, a teaser trailer, with some, like, cutscenes, and there was some fighting in it, but we don't know, if that's from cutscenes or if that's actual in-game footage, because usually all it says at the bottom is, like, game in development, not final product. That's all it usually says. So I can't really determine anything outside of that. Quality-wise, like, I've never played Melty Blood, to be honest. I never even really heard of it before making this video. When I was looking up the developer, like I played Senran Kagura and Onichibara before, but like I never, and I also own Battle Arena Toshinden, but I never heard of Melty Blood. It sounds familiar, so I probably talked about it in conversation or heard about it on Discord or something like that, so I can't really give any opinions based on that. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've played it and you actually like the fighting in that. I think the most niche I've gone is probably like Under Night in Birth, and that's about it. I am still looking forward to it because it is new Bleach, and I've been begging for a new Bleach game for a really, really long time, as I have with like a Yu Yu Hakusho game. Let's see. Let's just see how good it is. I'm going to keep on making content on it, I think. Whenever there's new information, I'm going to do my best to look into it. I might even try, if there's a demo, to hack it or data mine. I want to just try to find out everything there is to know about this game and give the most accurate information I possibly can without just hyping you guys up and getting your hopes up for something that like you're ultimately going to be disappointed by or drowned out by. So I don't know. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. That's just like how I feel about it. Yay, Bleach, I'm excited, but I don't know, is it going to be good? But I'm going to have a poll at the end of this video, pretty much asking you guys about your hype levels for this game. It'll be a simple poll, but I will, in the next Bleach video, show your comments and go over that poll. So if you do, feel free to go over to the community tab and actually take place in that. And let me know down below what kind of content you want to see me make from this game. Any and all thoughts are always welcome in the comment section down below, guys. And as I always said, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.